In a year when everyone felt like they were trudging uphill, Wayne Zaner, a mountaineer originally from Sugarloaf, climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. He did it to get closer to his goal of climbing the 7 summits, the 7 highest peaks on the 7 continents. Zaner also did it to inspire others.
One of the reasons I love mountaineering to the extent that I do, it's a very mindful moment for somebody. When you're hiking, it's one thing. But when you're climbing, and you're climbing at altitude, it becomes a really self-focused opportunity. It's not about your physical strength. Some people will say it's about mental strength. It's not just about mental strength. It's also emotional strength. And I think it's a combination of all three of those. And it's very similar to the year we just had. Nobody expected to have gone through what we just went through as a country, as a world, as a population with the onset of COVID. And physically, mentally, and emotionally, that virus has changed the way we live. And you have to be strong in all three of those categories every single day to make it through. And that correlates right back to mountaineering. And you're basically in your head the whole time. So emotionally, you have a chance to really kind of just sort through everything you need to in life. And you got to be strong to get through that, because at the same time, you're focused mentally and you're focused physically on what's in front of you. So from those perspectives, it's what really encourages me to get out and do more. Hopefully it inspires other people to do more along the way too.
There's a large presence in the valley. Day after day, season after season, generation after generation, the Sugarloaf Mountain watches over everyone. Our story begins in a small community called Brook Hill, located in the shadow of the Sugarloaf Mountain.
I can tell you one of the first times I ever climbed the mountain was with the Cub Scout unit, and we trekked up the Sugarloaf Mountain on a Saturday morning. And back then, as a 7 or 8 year old kid, you looked upon that mountain as one of the most iconic things in the valley. It's always there, and it was so big. And so to take that trek, as a 7 or 8 year old kid, to get to the top and summit the Sugarloaf Mountain, it was one of the best things you could do. And it was, I think, at that point forward where I just always had a love for the mountains.
As Zaner kept growing, so did the mountains he climbed as he reached to accomplish one of his childhood dreams, climbing the 7 summits. While in college, he climbed his way around the Delaware Water Gap. Eventually, he was climbing in Colorado at higher altitudes, and then in South America in the Andes Mountains, including one of the 7 summits, Aconcagua. In 2020, he set his sights on Africa and another one of the 7 summits, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania. The COVID-19 pandemic added to the challenge of getting to the summit.
Kilimanjaro was a lot different. I didn't have the opportunity to just jump on a plane, go to another country, stay at altitude for weeks on end prior to getting to a higher altitude. With Kilimanjaro, it was literally grinding it out every day, whether it was climbing the bridge here in Charleston, which is 700 feet above sea level, at a pretty steep incline, whether it was going out to the beach, trekking through the deeper sand and just kind of pushing weight to get my legs and my core prepared. It was a different feel. I didn't have the opportunity to put the altitude underneath my shoulders. And so going to Kilimanjaro, there was a little level of nervousness, whether or not, once I reached the 14 to 16,000 foot altitude, whether or not my body would be able to handle it. I knew what to expect because I've been at that altitude before. I've been higher than 19,000 feet, but at the same time, each climb is unique in its own way. And your body, you have to prepare it, and then you have to take care of it while you're there.
You may have noticed Zaner just mentioned Charleston. That's where he currently lives in South Carolina, and the highest mountain I ever saw there was a sandcastle.
As far as what I do to train, I live at sea level here in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm 3 miles from the ocean. There's not a lot of mountains in Charleston. So when I have the opportunity, I like to prepare myself with altitude. And so whether it's getting out to Colorado, going down to Peru, finding somewhere where I can get some altitude underneath me prior to getting into the higher altitudes, it's always helpful. What I found really useful, and it's kind of unique to Charleston, it can be used anywhere, but because I don't have mountains here, I have a lot of sand to make up for it. And I will challenge anybody to throw a 40 to 50 pound pack on their shoulders and walk through deep sand any day of the week. If you put 7 to 10 miles in the deep sand with a pack on your back, you're going to prepare your core, and your legs in a way that can handle anything in front of them.
Zahner says his sports background helps him with his training. He grew up playing baseball and basketball in the Hazleton area and even broke some records during his time on the Hazleton Area High School volleyball team.
It's definitely a discipline. And so, having any background in athletics teaches you at a young age that discipline of, structuring out a training program, but more importantly, sticking to that program because the outcome at the end is requiring it.
Next up for Zahner, summit number 3 of 7, Denali in Alaska, the highest peak in North America. You can follow along with his journey on Facebook and Instagram.
I don't think it's a mountain really that people have to climb. I think it's more of the metaphorical aspect of taking a challenge on. We all have mountains in our lives. It could be anything from the actual climbing of the Sugarloaf Mountain to something that's more deep and personal, whatever it is that you may encounter. Hopefully people take away that, no matter what's in front of you, it can be accomplished. And it can be accomplished through just putting a plan in place and working your plan. Whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or combination of all three, those are the three facets that as humans, we're afforded the opportunity to perfect. And so as people go forward here, as we come out of this COVID timeframe and we enter into a new timeframe of 2021, take on the challenges that are in front of you. Don't face away from them, face right towards them. I'm pretty sure if we all do that, the world will be a better place.
And so Zahner travels all over the world, continuing to make a dream come true that he had while growing up in the shadow of the Sugarloaf Mountain, a place he never forgets. You're done with one of your climbing trips and you're coming home. What Hazleton food do you hope is waiting for you in the fridge when you get back?
All of it. I can't tell you how hungry I was when I got back from Tanzania. I burned so many calories over there. I think I dropped 22 pounds. But I can tell you some of my favorites. And my parents are watching, they'd probably laugh and they already know what I'm going to say. But the bar pit pizza from Snaps, the square bar pizza with the mushrooms and the sausage on top, can't find that anywhere else in the world.
For SSPTV Sports, I'm Ken Kara.
Welcome to Africa. This is what it's all about. Set a goal, make it happen.